This is our tutorial for our notes on linear models, writing equations in slope-intercept form that model real-world situations. And slope-intercept form is the y equals mx plus b that's on the screen. And one thing we're going to remember a few things before we get started, and that's that this m number and this b number, those are where we're going to put our numbers. The M letter represents the rate, and we're going to remember that per, each, and every are some good clue rate words. The B number is the starting value, the beginning or the initial value, and sometimes we call it a one-time fee because it only happens once, whereas the rate happens over and over and over again, and that per, each, and every indicates that it happens repeatedly. So if we're going to look at this very first example, it says the cost to repair Brianna's car is $156 for parts plus $52 per hour. It's a pretty short one, and I see right away I've got one of my per, each, and every words. There's my per. That means that the $52 is a rate. And I've got some space here. I'm going to write down my important information that's $52 per hour. And I'm going to come over here and write that that's my rate. And then my other important piece of information is the $156, and that was parts, which actually becomes our one-time fee. So when I write my equation, if I follow the format, the m number comes first with the x, so y equals 52x, and then plus, and the b number is second, 156, and it's by itself. Now, some people do like to write it in reverse order to sort of show the sequence or the action that's happening, that you're going to have to pay for your parts, and then they're going to use them and work on the car, and it's going to cost you $52 an hour after that. So that sort of shows the sequence of the action. But the important thing to remember is that the 52, the rate number on both of those equations, is always the number with the x. Now let's look at example number 2. Example number 2 says student council is taking a trip to the annual state convention in Arlington. The bus will cost $200 and the hotel will cost $350. The registration fee is $35. This is a little bit longer, so I'm going to model our 3 reads. That sort of helps us to chunk it up, and so that's a little bit easier to deal with all the information. Everywhere that there's a period, we're going to put a slash mark, or it could be a question mark. And some people like to do it where there's an and, so I'm going to do that there. Now I'm going to read each little section. The first one says student council is taking a trip to the annual state convention in Arlington. That's good background information, but there's nothing mathematically important there, so I'm just going to mark through it. The second little section says the charter bus will cost $200. That has something mathematically important, and I'm going to write that one down, $200. And again, it's important to write down what stuff is for. Need your labels, that's for the bus. Once I get it written down, I'm going to mark through it because now I have it. Okay. Second little section says the hotel costs $350. So that's mathematically important. I'm going to write that down. That's the hotel. Mark through it. And the last one says the registration fee per member is $35. Ah, now I see that per each every word. That means that $35 is the rate. So I'm going to write that down, that's the per member fee. And I'm going to label it, that's my rate. I'm going to write that down there. Okay, now we're kind of wondering, okay, now I've dealt with that. Once you finish writing down all your important information, you should actually be able to go back and just by looking at what you wrote down, sort of summarize the problem. I know that the bus was $200, the hotel was $350, and $35 per member was my registration fee, and that's my rate. So that has all the information on there. Now, as far as what is the starting amount, this one actually has a combined starting amount. That bus and that hotel fee that they're showing right here, you only are going to pay for that bus that one time to rent it, and you're going to pay the $350 that's for everybody's hotel. So that is really the starting amount if we put it together. So if I add those two together, my starting value ends up being $550. Now if I then write my equation, Following the format, the rate, the 35, that's the number that goes with our variable x, and then the starting amount goes after that by itself. Remember, we can switch those around so that we write the 550 first and then the 35 second, but the 35, since it's the rate, needs to have the x with it. Okay, my last example, Spencer received a Best Buy gift card, $150 Best Buy gift card. For every video game he purchases, $18 is deducted from his gift card. Write an equation that can be used to determine how much will be left on the card. And once again, I'm going to model the 3 reads. So I'm going to put my slash marks. And then I'm just going to read each little section and write down the important information. So Spencer received a $150 Best Buy gift card. That's got the important information that it's $150, and that's what was on the card. Second, for every video game he purchases, $18 is deducted from the gift card. That's important. So I'm going to write down the $18, and I'm going to write down deducted for every video game. Oh, and now that I've got it written down, I can see my per each every word right there. I missed it as I was reading it the first time. That means that $18 right here, that is the rate. So I'm also going to put myself a little thing that there's my rate, and I'm going to put it here. And it's important to note that since we're using the word deducted, that means it's being subtracted, so that's a negative direction. So I'm going to put down that this is a negative. Whereas the $150, that was something that you received. So that's money coming towards you. That's a positive. The $15 or the $18 is going away from you because they're taking it off of your card, taking it away. So that's why it's a negative. So my starting amount is a positive 150, whereas my rate is a negative 18 to show that the direction that the money is going. And if I write my equation, I have y equals negative 18 with the x, because that's the rate, plus 150. Or if you want to write it sort of in the action as it's occurring, you would say I got my $150 gift card first, but then every time I use it, I'm going to subtract $18 for each video game. So either way is fine. It's just you got to remember the 18 is negative and the 18 has the x.